Glad you guys are here. Hope everybody had an amazing lunch. Okay, so we got about 15 minutes, so I'm going to be very, very critical of my time here. And over the next 15 minutes, I want everybody to know what's going to happen. Between now and the next 15 minutes, about 88,000 people are going to go on Zillow's website. So the overall theme that we're going to look at here is going to be primarily focused on real estate, looking at AI and innovation, and really give you guys the playbook to win as an agent or a loan officer. Knowing what's happening right now with technology, AI specifically, you guys, it's going to be tough to win. And again, 88,000 people right now in the next 15 minutes are going to go on Zillow's website. And not many people are going to have a plan to win. But I'm going to do my best over the next 15 minutes to give you guys a pathway to navigate that forward. Knowing this is happening right now, my overall theme for anybody who's an agent or a loan officer today is don't resist. The top working agents and loan officers that I've worked with over the last 6 years, like John mentioned, I am probably the youngest person until Isaiah gets on, who will be on the stage this week. But working with amazing agents over the last 6 years and loan officers, the same central theme of those who are most successful, they don't resist. They don't fight change. It may be easier for me, given that I'm a little younger in this, being a Gen Z, but you guys cannot push back anything that's new, any new tech, any new AI. I encourage you guys to lean into it. Now, when we are jumping into this here, to achieve what is a daunting task, going against big AI, big tech companies, you're going to have to do things that is going to be a little tough. And to achieve that, you're going to have to do things that no one wants to do, really. And it's not going to be easy to disrupt this, because you're going to have to go directly against some big companies to stay in the business. As you guys probably saw 2 days ago, a massive lawsuit with the FTC came out right now with Zillow and Redfin, with Zillow apparently giving $100 million to Redfin on their rentals. So that's happening right now, but there's a lot of disruption going on. You guys saw a lot of mergers and acquisitions. We saw what happened with Compass this past week, buying out all the Anywhere brands, and a lot of other mergers this past year with Rocket buying out Redfin, and they also bought out Mr. Cooper, and also the big changes with AI. So I'm just going to show you what we're doing right now and how everybody here can duplicate the exact same with AI to really win at a high level. Now, big overall takeaway, we could look at agent numbers or LOs, but production since, call it 2021, COVID, has been tough. Agents and loan officers are not making the money they used to. And there's no reason for you guys not to be achieving a lot of success. Every year we're seeing the, quote, 80-20 rule, where 20% do 80% of the production, not the same anymore. It's now getting more and more, where 10% are doing 90% of the production. And it's just getting worse and worse and worse every year, and you guys know the stats on this. But you guys don't have to fall into the majority. We can flip the script on that. Now, the big reason that this is the reality, and most everybody in the room is going to fit into this box here, is everybody wants to get into real estate or mortgage because they think they want to be a business person, be an entrepreneur. But most people are still a solo agent or a solo loan officer. You have no team, and you have no business. You're just a solo person doing your thing by yourself. So how can you become that entrepreneur and have a business that runs without your involvement? Well, the first thing that you're going to have to do is quit doing this. Quit being by yourself and relying on you doing all the hats, because it's an impossibility to grow. So if you really want to be successful, the first thing that you're going to have to do to evolve, to go to the next thing here, is you're going to have to take it beyond yourself. And you're only going to be as good as the people around you. So you guys can study some amazing people like John Maxwell, but you're only going to be as good as the team that you facilitate around yourself. So John Maxwell is an amazing person. If you guys haven't studied him, go read his books. But that's the starting point. Put amazing people around your organization. Another great quote, if you guys haven't studied anything from Jim Rohn, amazing, amazing. The 5 people you put around yourself is really who you become. So look around, who do you spend the most time with? Top 5. That's ultimately going to be the impression of yourself when you look in the mirror. So if you're wondering how to win with AI and really become the next level business person and quit being a solo agent or solo loan officer and have something that grows beyond yourself, you're going to have to put amazing people around you. That's going to be people who understand AI. I'm not saying you guys have to understand AI, how technology works, knowing the average realtor or LO in their mid-50s today. You guys don't have to learn it all yourself. Just build a team around you who knows it, who understands it and gets it. Now, to simplify this, because we don't want to make this complex, there's no reason to go into the science of anything crazy, just go to the basics. Let's stick to the fundamentals. You guys probably know Vince Lombardi, fantastic football coach. And it really just comes down to the blocking and tackling. And if you guys can do this in any business that you guys are in now, I'm just going to show you what we're doing on the real estate side, and you can duplicate this exactly in your craft, depending on who your customer is. If you're in B2B, if you're building a business like I am on the real estate company side, or if you're a loan officer and your client is the borrower, or if you're an agent and you're focusing on the buyer or seller, the first thing, the starting point, is you need to decide, what does the customer want? What's the end result? And then you build everything else around that. So when we're starting with this, and again, this is just my take after working with, again, thousands of agents, thousands of loan officers, and I've been doing this now for not too long, about 6 years. But in my time doing this, I've watched companies and opened about 200 real estate companies at this point, and probably watched about, I don't know, grew a company from 0 to doing about 2,000 home sales in about 3 years. So it's not hard to go from 0 to 2,000 home sales in 36 months. Everybody can do that, but again, it requires leverage and quit thinking like a solo agent and leveraging a lot of great people. But to achieve that, you got to start with, what do people want? Again, Axen Realty, our consumer, being a B2B, business to business, our agent is our client. And they want 3 big things. They want more money, more support, and they want more freedom. Now, to put that together, we had to create a new company. So obviously Nexa has everything at this point, an amazing foundation. So given the recent disruption with mergers and acquisitions, what's happening with the tech, the AI, we had to jump in the real estate space, make this even better for you guys to benefit. So naturally, we were very creative with the branding, and Axen Realty was created. And that happened about June 24th, technically, so about 90 days ago. Boom, Axen Realty was created. And it's been an absolute blast. Now, the first thing that we were kind of tasked with was, we want to get this thing national. So how can we go from 0 to all 50 states? So previously, that was done in 3 years. To go from 0 states to 50 states took 3 years. Right now, we're sitting at about 25 states in 90 days. Now, that's pretty quick, and I would never advise anybody to open a real estate brokerage and open it in 25 states in 90 days, unless you're young and you want to not sleep and work a lot and leverage a lot of amazing people. But it can be done. Now, the starting point of growing any amazing business and leveraging innovation, AI, and the like is starting with an amazing operating system. And the first thing that we did when we put this on paper was, it starts with AI, and we can kind of look at that as, call it deal desk. Now, knowing the transaction is the essential component in real estate, we have to take the deal and make it seamless for everybody. Because you guys can already see what's happening in every other space. Now happening in real estate is they're removing the humans from the transaction. We've seen this happen in every realm of other businesses I could look at or mention here that you guys know. Now, we're just removing the human from it. And so the first thing was, we had to put the deal desk together, which we're going to explore, and we had to leverage in 3 other separate companies and make it feel like it was a seamless transaction. Thus, Axen Realty being born, obviously tying in the #1 mortgage brokerage in the country with Nexa Lending, and then obviously the new inception of Agenta Title. So tying in the new title company that we did roll out to make this even seamless for everybody to win. Now, putting together the deal desk for everybody was the starting point for the agent to win, to get their life back. The agents are not good with the paperwork, as you guys know, and the agents are primarily, and loan officers alike, they focus on things that don't make them the most amount of money. So if you guys were to write down on a piece of paper what's your hourly income, most people, when they kind of do the math on it, you guys are probably not, you're doing things right now that are not reflecting what you actually make annualized as an hourly rate of pay. So the thing is, you have to quit doing all of that, and you have to outsource that to other people, whether that's technology or low-level rate of pay. Now, what we've done is we just outsourced that to, call it deal desk, which is just AI and transaction coordinators. So now the agents get their entire life back. They focus on none of that. It's all done for them. So imagine everything from the compliance to everything with the transactions to the documentation, completely done. Dealing with the title side, dealing with the mortgage side, and the client. So the agents only focus on what they enjoy, which is the sales and the marketing. So once you get this component correct, everything else just funnels in. Now you can tie in the mortgage element, obviously everything with Nexa, which amazing, amazing. All the rates that you guys need, all the products, all the compensation that you can tie back in for the realtor to reinvest back into their business, it just goes full circle. And then of course, tying in the new title company. Title is the biggest thing that screws deals up today because title companies suck, as we all know. So I didn't want to use any of those companies. And we had to create our own, and we had to set the framework of how this is going to work. And of course, it has to start with the consumer, which is now the buyer or the seller, starting with a 5-star review in mind. And once we're able to put the 5-star review first, integrated with the AI, meaning the transaction can be hybrid, it can close virtually, and it's got to be the lowest fees in the industry. Once you do things like that, and you integrate everything where it's seamless and touchless, and you can do one-touch CTCs and have title exams and all the searches back same day or click of a button, everything else just comes together. So once you have the entire operating system together, now we just have to go back to the principal values of what agents most want: more money, more support, and more freedom. So most companies, when they set up a company, they want to do the opposite and not give the agent what they want, or the loan officer. So just like in Nexa fashion, we got to give people what they want. So it starts with money. Give them more money. Everybody else is doing the opposite. They charge them a split, a percent. So let's just give them flat fees. Don't charge them a split at all. Flat fee, $500 or $1,000, flat fee per transaction. The opposite. Agents get more money in their pocket. Of course, we don't want to keep any of that as a company. We want to give it all the way back to the agents. So they get paid more money when they sell. And then, of course, we're just going to flip it around and give it all the way to them and pay them as if they own the company without any overhead at all. No expenses, no hiring, no training, no managing. And we made it very simple with no BS, no buffering for them to be able to make passive income. Again, the average realtor is in their mid-50s, about 55, 56, with no retirement plan in sight. So we just simplified it. You bring on 10 agents as a new agent in Axen Realty. Within about 6 months, you're probably going to be making about $250,000 a year. You bring on 20, that's going to make you about $500,000 a year passive. You want to make $1 million a year, you'll get 40 level 1 agents. So you just simplify the entire revenue share plan. There's no 5, 6, or 7 levels. It's 4. And again, that's the reason, the benefit of the customer, which is our case, the agent. Now, as we do roll this thing forward with more money for the agents, revenue share that's simplified to actually make them passive income into retirement, we want to roll out some exclusives that no one else in the country can do. That includes the like of nationwide developments. You guys saw in the other room, if you walked into the booths, if you put on the VR headsets, that system alone cost $800,000. Just to program that for the Tampa deal. There's no other real estate company that can really pioneer or is even forefront enough that's doing that at a national scale. Making the investments for agents to be able to sell developments across the country, not just the ones in Tampa or San Antonio or Vegas that we're doing, or Los Angeles, but nationwide. Coast to coast, allowing agents not to be dependent on their local market, but to really help clients build wealth across the country, leveraging technology like the VR, and really diversify their business completely. Now, it's awesome to be able to sell developments, but you have to go a step further. Like I mentioned, within this 15 minutes I've got on stage here, agents right now are losing right now online. 88,000 people are going to Zillow before I jump off here. So how in the world can we win and get agents not losing that business to Zillow, to Redfin, to Homes.com? Well, it just comes down to simply following the game differently. So all we've done is we just put together a tech stack for the agents to be able to compete with and win locally. We already know Google today has about 90% of the market share. That means 90% of people, when they pull up their phone, their iPad, their computer, they pull up Google. And Google is going to give them search results locally. And all we've done is we've just given the package and the blueprint for every single agent to win with and compete and beat Zillow at their own game, knowing what's happening, to build their own brand and not to pay 40% referral fees. Very, very simple. However, though, most companies are not wanting to give out the details because agents are so insecure, the top ones at each respective brand or company, that agents are going to, quote, steal their customers. But being an agent-first brokerage, we're not going to hold back any of the details. We're going to give it back to everybody. Let everybody take it as far as they want to. Now, culture has been a big one since COVID. Since COVID's happened, for you guys to know, every publicly traded real estate company today is not making any money. They're all unprofitable. You guys can pull it up, but not a single publicly traded real estate company makes any money right now. They're all in the red. Now, knowing they're not making money, that means they're not making investments back into their agents. They're not taking it the extra mile for growth, for culture, and retention. So, knowing that's happening with a 30, 40, 50% churn every single year, we're going all in on in-person conferences. So agents can grow and they continue to evolve their businesses. So every single month, all the agents are going out to a location so they can build and grow together. So we don't have to deal with the traditional norm, which is the 30, 40, 50% churn rate, year over year over year, with a revolving door. Now, To go a step further with it, real estate school, a big barrier right now to entry is you have to get your license. 4,000 agents every single month are getting their license. But that does cost, depending on the state, $300 to about $1,500. So to make that even easier, of course, we just had to open our own real estate school. So nationally, we can actually attract agents across all 50 states and be a part of, on the front end, of bringing those 4,000 agents in a month and remove the entire cost or the obligation of bringing them into the company. Of course, there's also the duplicate irritation, as you guys are all aware of, CE, continuing education, having to pay for that and deal with the time cost of that. So by having the National Real Estate School for both real estate and loan officers, then we can remove the entire irritation of the time investment and the money based on having a lot more control of that footprint. And then we go a step further with it. There's over 1 million active military in the US today, and of course we just empower them as well. Have a specialized division as people move across the country, having local teams inside of each base so we can serve them. And then go a step further with it, tie in the luxury element so that way we're always able to stay top of mind and attract all the luxury agents. So again, all we're doing here is we're just taking what agents most want: more money, more support, more freedom, and give them a platform to win once again. Without anything about us winning as a company, just putting the agents first, given what's happening in the industry right now. And then of course, right now, we're on a plan to go public. Within the next 24 to 36 months, we're gonna have, give or take, about 100,000 agents. The company's worth probably a few $1 billion, and everybody's gonna benefit from the equity of that happening. And being able to retire if they want to, but ideally not, just being able to have the assets to exit when they want to. So it's all gonna be tied in there. And making it even easier, most companies, as you guys probably know, there's a cap, meaning you have to pay in $12,000, $15,000, $16,000 a year. And for an agent to move their license, there's some frustration with that. It delays the sales cycle. So to make it easier, we just remove that objection completely. They can move their license immediately over to our company. We will honor their cap they paid into their prior company, and they owe us nothing for the first year. Just make it a no-brainer altogether. Also, knowing there's 2 million real estate agents in America, we've made it easier for every agent to come on board, because 700,000 of them don't produce at all. They can hang their license at our referral brokerage in every state, pay no fees, just refer agents to us, get paid the rev share, and also benefit from the referral income of any buyers and sellers. So don't have to pay NAR the $1,000 a year, and we still have a great location to hang 700,000 licenses. Now, if you're wondering how is this all possible, it's just because we're just using business philosophy 101. Whoever spends the most money is gonna win. And that's all we're doing here. We're just investing more time, more energy, more money in continuing the innovation. So again, what can happen in 30 days is we can just go from an idea on a piece of paper to 25 active states, signing over 500 agents, and have another 13 pending states. With the intention of, no kidding, by the end of the year, probably have a couple thousand agents, well onto our way to have about 10,000 this time next year, and then 100,000 the year after. But again, the only reason this is happening is just because we're putting the agent first. Now, if you're wondering what you can do to similarly speed up growth, like a fun challenge, I would say, something I do. I'm not sure if you guys want to do this, but something I would recommend. Every evening before you go to bed, if you really are just crazy, take your phone out if you have an iPhone, and you would pull up the message app, and you would go to the send later option. So every night, I'd recommend pull up the message app, and you're going to go messages, you type the message up, and there's a send later feature. And before you go to bed, you're going to find 10 people of things, projects, it could be clients, it could be coworkers, it could be recruits that you weren't able to get to that day. And you're going to schedule a message out for the morning prior. And it's going to be at least an hour to 2 hours prior to you waking up. And what's going to happen then is because the people that you weren't able to get to, now you're going to have 10 texts before you even wake up of, quote, stuff to do. Because in my opinion, no real agent or loan officer is at capacity. No one's really pushing the limits of what they can achieve. So my recommendation is, again, just simplify it, force yourself to be productive. So again, every evening, just pre-schedule out 10 texts on missing projects, outstanding tasks that you haven't been able to get to, and you're going to be busy. You do the same thing when you wake up in the morning. Before you even check your phone, you do the same thing. So you're going to wake up in the morning, everybody does this, and you have things that pop in your head, things you need to get to for work, and you're immediately going to do the same thing with your iPhone. Hey Siri, and you type out 10 text messages to 10 people on projects, ideas, clients, and now you're going to have at least 20 text messages by the time you get out of the shower of, quote, stuff to do. You're going to immediately slam your calendar with things that are not getting done now. So if you're looking to really just amplify the growth and be, not, quote, busy, but just amplify your activity. Because I don't see enough agents achieving what they most want, or loan officers, Like Mike mentioned, he wants to do an extra 1 loan per LO a month. And it really comes down to your activity levels. So just simplify it, maximize your activity levels, and you can have a whole lot of fun with it. So overall theme here, again, I'm only 27, just maximize people, partnerships, and AI, and you guys can achieve the world. I hope to see you guys next year. Have a great day.